The rate of illiteracy in San Antonio is 12.5. In the nation, it's 5.6, and in the state of Texas, it's 10.7. San Antonio is significantly higher in illiteracy than the nation, and even higher than the state of Texas. But when you add another 12.5% that are functionally illiterate, then that's almost a quarter of our population.
It's not just that we in San Antonio are not reading wonderful literature. We can't read well enough to really do what's necessary for daily life.
I don't think you can work on a bigger problem, bigger issue than on literacy.
We're not excluding anyone. This is a citywide problem.
If we don't have young people learning to read at an early age, they will not be successful in middle school, high school, or ever get to college.
If you're illiterate as an adult, it became at early age, and your children will probably be illiterate as well because you're not there to encourage them to be something else.
Our students that are not doing well in literacy obviously have problems in school and therefore drop out, and they are a big burden on the community. They find the lower level jobs that are limited.
What it does is it sets up a whole cycle that can't be broken until you get a generation of readers who can actually take advantage of the educational opportunities.
If they can't read, then they can't apply for the kinds of jobs that pay living wages and allow them to be home with their families.
Well, in order to have economic growth, you have to have an educated workforce. Well, the foundation for an educated workforce is literacy.
Companies that look to expand, if you don't have an educated workforce, they're not interested in coming.
Employment in general and literacy problem go hand in hand.
It does impact how we're able to attract business to the community and how well existing business is able to grow and thrive here within San Antonio.
Illiteracy costs San Antonio. It costs employers who are going to be looking at us.
Smart cities grow and prosper. If you're not a smart city, you don't grow and you don't prosper.
There are many stories about how people cannot take jobs that are offered from some companies because they are not literate enough.
If they don't graduate from high school, if they don't go on to college, then that adversely affects our whole economy.
Certainly on an economic scale, we've got some challenges compared to other big cities.
And in order for us to not only navigate within our own community, but within the global economy that we live in, it's nearby impossible to do that without being literate.
We may lose our competitive edge with other partners around the world.
If you don't have a literate populace, you will not get a lot of the industry that you want in your city, that we want here in San Antonio.
If people can't read, if they can't function in a society that is ever more demanding and complex, that involves other forms of literacy, financial literacy, technological literacy, then we don't have a prayer. Literacy is at the base of it all.
Society pays a huge price for that segment of our population which is illiterate.
In terms of social ills that affect San Antonio, our economy, our future, most of those things can be directly attributed to our reading levels or illiteracy, whatever you want to call it.
Certainly a greater prevalence of even conditions like domestic violence, for example, or a number of risk-taking behaviors, the use of illicit substances, drugs, drug abuse. Certainly the concern for child abuse and neglect.
High probability of unwed mothers, very high probability.
And so that then causes issues with families and broken families and crime and poverty.
From my perspective as a physician, but also as an educator, illiteracy is a public health issue.
Parents are their child's most important health provider, health decision maker. If they can't read the instructions on the prescriptions, they're in trouble.
Teenage pregnancy, the crime rate, the violence in our society is all attributed to poverty and to the illiteracy rate in our community.
So all of those things, I think, make this problem a terrible illness for our society.
A lot of people ask, well, does literacy have any impact on criminal behavior?
Literacy has a direct effect on criminal justice.
The greatest indicator that there's going to be a criminal around is if he got into drugs and if he didn't have an education.
And we find that juveniles who get into trouble, go to TYC, when they come in and we do the diagnostics on them, generally they are reading 4 grades behind.
Third grade reading scores, some cities have actually used those as predictors for the number of beds they're going to need for jails by the time that generation of kids has reached 21.
There's a very high degree of illiteracy among career criminals.
You find the majority of individuals who are incarcerated have not finished high school.
The fact is that in our country, 60% of our prison population is illiterate.
And that's going to be a huge price that the rest of society pays in terms of police work, law enforcement, the criminal justice system, the court system, the detention center at the county level, the state prison at the state prison level.
You see another generation falling by the wayside.
For more than 80 years, the Junior League of San Antonio has fought to eradicate many of our community's worst social ills. Illiteracy will be our toughest fight yet.
This is by far the largest initiative ever undertaken by the Junior League of San Antonio.
But for more than 80 years, with over 1,000 members, we've worked in our community trying to help so many with so many needs.
But the issue of illiteracy is pervasive and at the root of many problems. We simply can no longer ignore it.
We need your help. No one group can solve this problem of illiteracy.
We can't depend on public service announcements. This must be a funded effort so that everyone understands the magnitude and, frankly, the epidemic nature of the issue.
But we won't just be saying in our messaging that here are the problems. We will also provide in all communications a resource people can turn to for help, a website and a telephone number dedicated to this effort.
A resource that identifies and brings together all the programs available to help stamp out illiteracy.
To learn more about this major initiative, how you can participate, and how you can help, go to literacysanantonio.com.
We must, all of us, raise our level of expectations.
Illiteracy cannot be tolerated. It can't be swept under the rug. The social, economic, and human toll is devastating.
This is not a one-year effort, not 2 or 3 years. It's going to take a decade.
But it can be done. It must be done. Just say no.
Say no. No illiteracy. No excuses.
Yes, it's a battle cry in a war we can't afford to lose.